All right, welcome back, everyone. We will now go through the cases and adjudicate. There's no further input from the public at this time. All right, members of the board, application number 1, Gu and Chi. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
It's an interpretation,
Oh, I'm sorry.
actually. I'm sorry. Look for an interpretation.
Motion that accepts the interpretation that a three-family dwelling has existed prior to 1955.
All right, do I have a second on that?
Second.
All right, do I have any against?
I'm against it, just based upon the testimony that we heard today and the evidence that was presented.
Any further discussions?
I just feel that substantively, the evidence supports this interpretation.
Okay. Mike, you good?
Yeah.
All right, so do roll call. Mark? 4. Mike?
Against.
Bill?
4.
Phil?
4.
And I'm for the motion, so it carries. All right, application number 2, Rella, looking for an interpretation. I'll read it. The interpretation that the placement of a family bonus room with half bathroom above detached garage does not require the application of a use variance standard, in that the use is a residential in nature. So do I have a motion for, or an interpretation?
Motion to interpret that,
You want me to help you with the wording? I know it's long.
Sure.
So if you need it, just say.
yes, go on.
Well, I'll give you the definition.
Okay.
Building or part thereof used by residents or other occupants of the site primarily for the storage of their motor vehicles. And it goes on to describe the size of the trucks, but there's nothing else. So,
Okay, so the interpretation then that the
Definition of a private garage.
definition of a private garage does
The term
not,
primarily for the storage of motor vehicles is not interpreted as exclusively for motor vehicles and can
adopt
permit
that.
a recreation room.
I would adopt that language.
Okay, do I have a second on that interpretation?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I'm against the interpretation. I mean, I read the code as it is, and I think that this applicant requires a use variance.
Respect that.
Before we vote, there was some discussion regarding the bathroom. That would only be with a variance, it wouldn't be with an interpretation, correct?
I wouldn't condition, your interpretation
Right.
is going to be a factual interpretation, not conditioned on any other component.
Understood.
Right, the alternative was a use variance.
Right.
So the interpretation is on its own. All right, so I'll start here. Roll call vote.
4.
Bill?
4.
Mike?
Against.
Mark?
4.
And I'm for the motion. So it carries. The interpretation carries. All right, number 3 was held over. Number 4, Manganiello.
Motion to
Sorry.
grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just note, Mike, that you'll check.
it's either going to legalize it, remove it, or
Okay, on the shed. Number 5, Angelino. I'll look for motion.
Motion to pass.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
grant, you mean?
There was a motion to
Motion to
grant.
grant, I'm
Motion to
sorry.
grant.
Okay, I just want to make sure I heard it right.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, just to clean it up, do I have a second on that motion to grant?
Motion to grant, second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, guys. Number 6, 31 Tamarack Road, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, granted.
That interpretation covers it.
And number 7,
Don't have to
Hamilton.
do it. You already did it.
It's covered by
The
the identical
previous
interpretation.
interpretation's the same thing.
Covers it.
All right, should we just say it for the record?
Nope.
Sure.
No, you
That's your
already- you already
interpretation of the
interpreted it, so
statute.
let's not interpret the same code twice
No.
differently.
It
I
applies to
think what
everyone.
he's saying for the record, for the minutes, is that the board looks at that application as an identical
But their
interpretation as they
application
already
is looking for a
determined.
use variance. They're not looking for an
So then
interpretation.
say denied, but the based on the fact that the interpretation came through on previous application number
One,
1 and 2,
two, sorry.
and no use variance is required.
Okay, so will somebody
We
make
even need
that?
to act if no use
Actually,
variance is
you know what, yeah,
required.
don't deny it.
No,
You
I
should-
think the interpretation covers it.
Correct.
So for the record, we should just, for
Drop
this
it.
case,
How do they
say
close
that
it out?
based on the,
Well, the public hearing's closed, so
No action.
what I would say is that the interpretation from item 2 covers it, and you'll convert it to an application for an interpretation on your own motion, and that the interpretation for number 2 covers this particular application. You do that.
So their application was for a use variance.
Correct. They can convert it to an application for an interpretation on your own motion.
But they don't need to, because they already interpreted that section of the code.
Right, but what I have here is just a use variance.
Why don't we just dismiss without prejudice, and then it's done?
Better, fine.
Easier. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be difficult, but let's just,
okay?
Okay.
Okay, motion to dismiss the application
Without prejudice.
without prejudice.
All right, do I have a motion there?
Motion to dismiss the application without prejudice.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. You're good.
You're welcome.
All right, the minutes from January
Appreciate it. You weren't
25th,
here.
2018. I was not here, so
So
you were here, so you
I was
you can
here.
ask for the motion to
will we
accept.
have enough people? 1, 2, 3, 4.
four,
Okay,
yes.
so is everyone here in
was
January?
everybody here for the meeting?
Were you here in January?
Yes.
Everyone else was here?
I think it was, I don't even remember.
You weren't here.
I don't think I
I
was.
don't think
The
you were
last
here
one I
either.
wasn't.
I will have to carry
We'll
this.
carry it over.
You have 4,
All right,
There was
Dawn.
one.
No, but I wasn't
He
here.
can't vote either.
and you don't have 4. I apologize.
Dawn, just if you're picking this up, just carry these minutes into next month. That's it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Joel. Dominic, we're all set. Thank you.